Do you collapse on the sofa at the end of each day wishing you could push a pause on life? Just to take a breath, to sit in quiet for just a few moments and breathe? Without kids needing something from you, your spouse asking you for the fifth time what's for dinner, and your dog looking expectantly from you to the leash by the door? You're exhausted, not physically, but mentally. You've been bombarded by information since the time you woke up and let your phone illuminate your face before you barely even realized you're awake. Our brain processes about 74 gigabytes of information daily. That is equivalent to watching 16 movies in one day. And if we think about it, 16 movies, how many of them would we remember? Could we even think about what they were about at the end of each day and then repeat the next day with the new 16 movies? The information we absorb through our senses each day is stressful. It might be disguised as news, following your favorite person on Instagram, or talking to your colleagues at work. Everything is stored away in our internal processor. But what we don't realize is that it's draining our energy. We get anxious thinking about the future. We compare ourselves to others, wishing we were more like them. We gossip about people, unconsciously worrying others are doing the same thing to us behind our backs. By the time we get home, we are running on fumes, unable to make any more decisions. Soon this will turn into chronic fatigue, which will influence our health. Our immune system will be next, disguised as different, unrelated health issues. And to think it could all be prevented. Hi, I'm Basswood. On this channel, I talk about how to better our life by adopting a healthier lifestyle, something that I've been working on since I was 18 and decided to complete my first 21-day fast. Now, my approaches to health through the years have been all over the place, from modest daily tweaks in my daily diet to extreme 42-day fasts to battle a serious illness. I'm also a mother of two, and have experienced firsthand what a difference a healthy way of life can make on my children. I've struggled with low afternoon energy for years, and I've noticed these symptoms not only in myself and in my husband, but more and more frequently in my kids as well. It's not just me. It's affecting all of the people around me. And since health and healthy living are my passions, I decided to get to the bottom of it. It took me a few years, but finally I could put a finger on what was draining our energy. It was the overload of information we were bombarded with every single day. But to come to this realization, it was a process of trial and error, focusing on different things, improving them, just to eliminate them when the results started to show. I went to the doctor to have my blood work checked, thinking it was iron deficiency. Being tired all of the time and not having the mental energy to get through the afternoon should be related to iron, shouldn't it? But my blood work came back normal. Then I started journaling about my stress in the morning when the energy was still high, but that didn't work either. I've tried meditation for a few months, only to realize that my thoughts kept coming back to my latest scenario my brain cooked up that day. And then I focused on food, eliminating all the highly processed foods from our diet, having researched the damage it can do to our well-being, health, and energy levels. It didn't turn the needle much, and I was slowly becoming desperate for new things to try. Then I started moving more and more, and my body energy was better. But the mental energy I so desperately needed didn't come. It wasn't my body that was tired. It was my mind. Then, after a particularly negative set of news one evening, I couldn't fall asleep for hours. My mind was hard at work of how bad the situation has become and what this will mean for our family. The next morning, I made the decision that I couldn't handle the negativity anymore, and the news had to go. From then on, things started to change, and I realized something. It was the information I was absorbing every spare minute of the day that was the culprit, but not the amount of information. It was the quality of it. Think about it. When was the last time you turned off the TV after watching the news and thought, that was so inspiring? I'm so happy I spent an hour educating myself on the latest information about war, famine, decline of our economic markets, climate change, and the never-ending climb of crime. No, I don't think I've ever experienced that. If anything, I felt anxiety, fear, the sense of hopelessness and despair. The best decision by far I ever made was staying away from the news. But my experiment went even further, because I realized the news wasn't the only problem. What about the social pages? The people I follow, the lives I'd trade to have, the material possessions, the prestige, and the relationships. I don't know about you, but watching influencers flaunting their newest cars, houses, travel, and out-of-this-world hobbies didn't inspire me to be better. And I soon realized the fairy tales they were selling are just that, fairy tales. At the end of the day, binge-watching influencer after influencer, I felt more or less the same as watching the news. Depressed, inferior, and no closer to a better life of my own. They had to go. Now, if you see yourself and your situation in my story, there's a good chance you could be suffering from the same symptoms. So what can you do? Well, there is one simple shift that you can try tonight. When it's time for the evening news, grab a book instead. Take out a board game and spend some quality time with your children, or take your dog for a long walk in nature. You can live without the negativity for one day. And you will give your mind a chance to do something worthwhile instead of constantly being on guard of where the next threat is coming from. When you make simple steps towards minimizing the unnecessary noise every day, in time, your future might look something like this. Imagine waking up on a Tuesday morning 3 months from now. You can't remember when was the last time you had such a good night's rest. You're not reaching for your phone automatically anymore. There's no need. All of the unnecessary apps are deleted, and you already know what the weather will be like. You calmly prepare to go to work, knowing you'll have as much energy when you get back to tackle your second job, your home life. I eliminated the consumption of evening news years ago. After that came the elimination of the hourly reports on the radio. My anxiety about the bleak future slowly subsided into a thought here and there when a coworker informed me of what is going on in the world. Then it was the social pages. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. YouTube I'm still watching, but now 90% of watch hours are focused on learning about my interests. As a consequence, my 3-week fast transformed from anxious to peaceful, meaningful, and inward focused. All thanks to a small first step, turning off the news in the evening. Don't delay this simple solution to get your peace and energy back. The world is getting louder, fighting for your attention, and it will only be harder to make the transition in the future.